The waves are 10 feet high and your ship is creaking like it's about to snap in half. Salt spray blinds your eyes as you clutch the rigging, praying to Melkart that you'll see another sunrise. Welcome to the year 950 BC, somewhere in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea. You're not a passenger on this wooden vessel. You're its owner, its captain, and quite possibly about to become its final casualty. You are a Phoenician sea trader, and this storm could either make your fortune or claim your life. Your name is Hiram, son of Baelessa, and you inherited more than just a ship when your father died 3 moons ago. You inherited a reputation built over 2 generations of successful trading voyages, a network of contacts spanning from the Pillars of Hercules to the coast of Egypt, and a burden of expectations that weighs heavier than the cedar cargo in your hold. The ship beneath your feet is called the Star of Astarte, a vessel your grandfather commissioned from the shipwrights of Byblos 40 years ago. She's 60 feet of Lebanese cedar, built specifically for the deep-water trading routes that have made your family wealthy. Her hull is reinforced with bronze fittings. Her sail is woven from the finest flax, and her hold can carry enough goods to supply a small city. But right now, as mountainous waves crash over her bow and the wind tears at her rigging, she feels as fragile as a child's toy boat. On a pond, you've been at sea for 12 days, carrying a cargo that represents your family's entire fortune for the season. In the hold below, carefully sealed in pottery jars and wooden crates, lie the treasures that Phoenician traders are famous for throughout the ancient world. Bolts of purple-dyed cloth so expensive that only kings and high priests can afford them. Vials of precious glass in colors that no other craftsman can create. Ingots of silver from the mines of Iberia. Cedar planks that Egyptian pharaohs prize for their temples. The value of your cargo could buy a small fleet of ships, but only if you can deliver it safely to the markets of Egypt. And right now, with waves taller than your mast and winds that threaten to drive you onto the rocky coast of Cyprus, that seems increasingly unlikely, Captain, shouts your first mate, Abd Melkart, over the howling gale. The forward stay is fraying. If it snaps, we'll lose the mast. You squint through the spray, assessing the situation with the practiced eye of someone who's been making these voyages. Since childhood, your father started taking you to sea when you were barely 10 years old, teaching you to read the stars, judge the weather, and most importantly, calculate risks that could mean the difference between wealth and disaster, the mirdai. Mathematics of Phoenician trading are brutal in their simplicity. Every voyage represents an enormous investment, the cost of the cargo, supplies for the crew, repairs to the ship, payments to port officials. If you succeed, the profits can be extraordinary. If you fail, you lose everything. Secure that stay with spare rope, you order, your voice cutting through the storm. And check the cargo lashings again. If we lose even 1 jar of purple dye, this voyage becomes unprofitable. As your crew battles to keep the ship intact, you find yourself thinking about the chain of events that led you to this moment. Fighting for your life in waters that your ancestors first mapped centuries ago. To understand why you're risking your life in these dangerous waters, you need to understand what makes Phoenician merchants different from every other trading people. In the Mediterranean world, while other civilizations focus on agriculture or warfare, your people have built their entire society around one revolutionary idea: that the sea is not a barrier, but a highway. The Phoenicians control a narrow strip of coast along what will one day be called Lebanon, with great trading cities like Tyre, Sidon, and Byblos. Your homeland has few natural resources beyond the famous cedar forests, but it has something far more valuable: a strategic position at the crossroads of 3 continents and a culture that has perfected the art of long-distance trade. Your ships are technological marvels compared to the vessels used by other Mediterranean peoples. While Egyptian boats are designed primarily for river navigation and Greek vessels rarely venture far from sight of land, Phoenician ships are built specifically for deep-water voyaging. The Star of Astarte incorporates innovations developed over centuries of dangerous sea travel. Her hull is deeper and more rounded than traditional Mediterranean designs, providing better stability in rough seas. The cedar planks are joined using a shell-first construction technique that makes the ship stronger and more flexible. Bronze. Nails and clamps reinforce critical joints, and the entire vessel is sealed with a mixture of pitch and resin that keeps out water even in the worst storms. Most importantly, your ship is designed to be sailed by a relatively small crew, while war galleys require dozens of rowers. The Star of Astarte can be operated by just 15 men, leaving more room for cargo and reducing the cost of provisions for long voyages. But the real secret of Phoenician success isn't just better ships, it's better information. Your people have spent generations mapping trade routes, cataloging the products available in different regions, learning languages, and building relationships with local merchants and officials. The leather case in your cabin contains navigation charts that represent centuries of accumulated knowledge. Star maps that show how to navigate by celestial bodies, tide tables for major ports, detailed descriptions of harbors, including water depths, anchorage points, and potential hazards, lists of local customs, religious taboos, and political situations that could affect trade. Most valuable of all are your commercial intelligence reports. Detailed information about what products are in demand in different markets, which local rulers can be trusted, and which competitors might try to undercut your prices or steal your cargo. This information gives Phoenician merchants an enormous advantage over potential competitors, while other traders might stumble into profitable deals by luck. You can systematically identify opportunities and plan voyages that maximize profits while minimizing risks. As the storm begins to subside and your crew works to repair the damage, you take advantage of a brief calm to check on your precious cargo. Descending into the ship's hold by flickering oil lamplight, you're surrounded by the wealth of the ancient world, goods that will seem magical to the people you plan to trade with. The most valuable items in your hold are the bolts of purple cloth that have made your family's reputation. This isn't just any purple dye. It's the famous Tyrian purple created from murex shells found along the Phoenician coast. The process of making this dye is a closely guarded secret that your people have protected for generations. Thousands of murex shells must be collected and processed to produce just a few ounces of dye. The shells are cracked open, and the snails inside are extracted, then boiled in large vats with salt water. The resulting liquid is concentrated through repeated boiling until it becomes a rich, permanent purple that won't fade even after years of exposure to sunlight. The color is so distinctive and the production process so expensive that purple cloth has become the ultimate status symbol throughout the Mediterranean world. Roman senators will one day pass laws restricting who can wear purple, and the phrase "born to the purple" will describe imperial children. But right now, in 950 BC, Tyrian purple is still a rare luxury that only the wealthiest rulers can afford. Each bolt of purple cloth in your hold is worth more than most people earn in a lifetime. A single royal robe dyed with Tyrian purple could buy a farm or a house or a small merchant ship. Your cargo contains enough purple cloth to supply the courts of several pharaohs, but purple dye isn't your only valuable cargo. The hold also contains examples of Phoenician glassmaking, another closely guarded industrial secret. While other Mediterranean peoples are just learning to work with bronze, Phoenician craftsmen have mastered the art of creating colored glass in brilliant blues, greens, and golds. Your glass cargo includes mirrors polished to perfection, drinking vessels decorated with intricate patterns, and jewelry that sparkles like captured sunlight. These items will be absolute marvels to people who have never seen anything more sophisticated than polished bronze or silver. The cedar planks lashed to your deck represent another uniquely Phoenician product. The cedars of Lebanon grow nowhere else in the Mediterranean world, and their wood has properties that make it incredibly valuable for construction. Cedar is naturally resistant to insects and rot. It has a pleasant aromatic scent, and it's strong, enough to support large buildings while being light enough to work with easily. Egyptian pharaohs have been importing Lebanese cedar for their temples and palaces for over 1,000 years. Your cargo contains planks that could be used to build a royal throne room or line the burial chamber of a pyramid. Each piece has been carefully selected, seasoned, and prepared for the specific requirements of monumental architecture, the silver ingots in your hold come from the mines of Iberia, where Phoenician colonies have been established to exploit rich deposits of precious metals. These ingots represent a different kind of trading opportunity. While manufactured goods like purple cloth and glass have enormous profit margins, metals provide a stable store of value that can be easily converted to local currencies in any port. Finally, your cargo includes a selection of what you call curiosities, exotic items from distant lands that will fascinate customers who have never traveled beyond their local region. Amber from the Baltic shores, pearls from the Red Sea, ivory carvings from Africa, spices from Arabia. Each item tells a story of distant places and different peoples. With the immediate danger of the storm past, you return to the deck to check your position and plan the next stage of your journey. Navigation, in 950 BC, is part science, part art, and part prayer to the gods who control the winds and currents. Your primary navigation tools are your eyes, your experience, and the accumulated knowledge of generations of Phoenician seafarers. There are no magnetic compasses, no accurate maps, and no way to calculate longitude. Everything depends on your ability to read natural signs and remember the hard-won lessons of previous voyages. During the day, you navigate primarily by the sun's position and by landmarks along the coast. The Mediterranean is dotted with distinctive islands, headlands, and mountain peaks that serve as reference points for experienced navigators. Your charts include detailed drawings of these landmarks as they appear from different directions and distances. But the real art of Phoenician navigation comes alive at night. When you navigate by the stars, your people have been studying the night sky for centuries, developing sophisticated techniques for celestial navigation that allow you to sail accurately across open water when no land is visible. The most important star for Mediterranean navigation is what you call the Phoenician star, the North Star, which remains fixed in the northern sky while all other stars wheel around it during the night. By measuring the angle between the North Star and the horizon, you can determine your approximate latitude. Other stars serve as directional guides. The constellation you know as the Great Bear always points toward the North Star. The Hunter, Orion, rises in the east and sets in the west, providing a reliable east-west reference. The Crown, Corona Borealis, appears at specific times and positions that tell you about the season and your approximate location. Your star charts are carved on bronze plates that won't be damaged by salt water or rough handling. Each chart shows the night sky as it appears at different times of year and from different latitudes, allowing you to navigate accurately even when weather conditions prevent you from taking regular stellar observations, but stars and landmarks only tell part of the navigation story. Successful Phoenician captains also learn to read the subtle signs that indicate wind patterns, current, direction, weather changes, and the proximity of land. The color of the water changes as you move from deep ocean to coastal shallows. The behavior of birds provides clues about the direction and distance to land. Certain species never fly more than a specific distance from shore. Cloud formations often reveal the presence of islands or mainland coasts beyond the horizon. Wave patterns can indicate the direction of distant storms, the presence of underwater obstacles, or the influence of land masses on ocean currents. Even the smell of the wind carries information. You can detect the scent of pine forests, cooking fires, or river mouths long before the source becomes visible. All of this information must be processed constantly as you sail, combined with your knowledge of seasonal wind patterns, current flows, and the political situations in various ports. Navigation is as much about planning and preparation as it is about real-time observation and decision-making. Your destination for this voyage is the great port of Memphis in Egypt, but the journey there will take you through a carefully planned sequence of stops that reflect the complex network of trading relationships that Phoenician merchants have built throughout the eastern Mediterranean. Your first major stop will be at Kition, a Phoenician colony on the island of Cyprus. Cyprus occupies a strategic position between the Phoenician homeland and Egypt, making it an ideal staging point for trade missions. The colony was established by merchants from Tyre over a century ago, and has grown into a prosperous city that serves both as a trading center and as a base for Phoenician naval operations. At Kition, you'll take on fresh water and supplies, conduct minor repairs to your ship, and most importantly, gather current information about conditions in Egyptian ports. The Phoenician merchants resident in Cyprus maintain regular contact with their colleagues throughout the eastern Mediterranean, and they can provide crucial updates about political situations, market conditions, and potential hazards. Cyprus also produces one commodity that's essential for your trade: copper. The island's copper mines have been worked for over 1,000 years, and Cypriot copper is considered the finest in the Mediterranean world. You'll trade some of your manufactured goods for copper ingots that can be sold at a significant profit in Egypt. From Cyprus, your route will take you southeast toward the mouth of the Nile, but with a planned stop at one of the most important ports in your trading network, Sidon, another great Phoenician city that serves as a rival and partner to your home city of Tyre. Sidon is famous throughout the ancient world for its craftsmen and merchants. The city's glassworkers create products that are exported to royal courts from Mesopotamia to Spain. Its metalworkers produce bronze weapons and tools that are prized by warriors and craftsmen alike. Most importantly for your current voyage, Sidon is where you'll pick up additional cargo that's specifically designed for the Egyptian market. The relationship between Sidon and Tyre is complex and competitive. Both cities are part of the broader Phoenician cultural and commercial network, but they also compete fiercely for the most profitable trading opportunities. Marriages between merchant families from the two cities create alliances, but business rivalries can lead to conflicts that occasionally escalate into actual warfare. Your family has maintained trading relationships in Sidon for 3 generations, carefully balancing cooperation and competition to maximize opportunities while minimizing conflicts. The key is to find ways to benefit from Sidon's products and expertise without threatening the city's own merchants in their primary markets. The cargo you'll pick up in Sidon will include specialized items that complement rather than compete with your existing goods, weapons and tools for Egyptian military forces, religious artifacts for temples and priests, luxury items designed specifically for wealthy Egyptian customers. Your final approach to Egypt will take you past several smaller ports where Phoenician merchants maintain trading posts and warehouses. These facilities serve multiple functions. They provide secure storage for goods awaiting favorable market conditions. They serve as bases for gathering commercial intelligence, and they offer emergency assistance for Phoenician ships that encounter difficulties during their voyages. The network of Phoenician trading posts throughout the Mediterranean represents one of your people's greatest commercial advantages. While other merchants must rely on local contacts who may or may not be trustworthy, Phoenician traders can count on assistance from their own people at virtually every major port. As your ship approaches the mouth of the Nile after 2 weeks of careful navigation, you're entering one of the most lucrative and dangerous markets in the ancient world. Egypt is simultaneously the greatest opportunity for Phoenician merchants and the most challenging place to do business. The pharaohs of Egypt control vast resources: gold from Nubian mines, grain from the fertile Nile Valley, stone from quarries that produce granite and limestone for monumental construction, and perhaps most importantly, a large population of skilled craftsmen and administrators who create demand for luxury goods. But Egypt is also a highly regulated society where foreign merchants must navigate complex bureaucracies, religious restrictions, and political rivalries that can change without warning. Success requires not just good products and competitive prices, but also careful attention to Egyptian customs and the ability to build relationships with the right officials. Your approach to Egyptian waters is carefully planned to minimize both commercial and political risks. Rather than sailing directly to Memphis, you'll first stop at Tanis, a port city in the Nile Delta that has historically been friendly to Phoenician merchants. Tanis serves as Egypt's primary interface with the outside world. The city's officials are experienced in dealing with foreign traders and have established procedures that, while complex, are at least predictable. More importantly, Tanis is where you can gather current information about political conditions, market demands, and the specific requirements for trading in other Egyptian cities. The political situation in Egypt during this period is particularly delicate. The unified kingdom established by the pharaohs has been weakening, and regional governors are beginning to assert increasing independence. This fragmentation creates both opportunities and risks for foreign merchants. On one hand, competition between different regions means that local officials are often eager to attract foreign trade that brings in valuable goods and generates tax revenue. On the other hand, the breakdown of centralized authority means that agreements made with one official might not be honored by others, and merchant ships can find themselves caught in conflicts between rival factions. Your cargo is specifically designed to appeal to Egyptian customers while avoiding products that might be considered threatening to local industries. The purple cloth will find ready buyers among Egypt's wealthy elite, who value the status that comes from wearing colors that only the richest can afford. The glass products will fascinate Egyptian craftsmen who are just beginning to experiment with glass-making techniques. The cedar planks are perhaps your most certain sale. Egyptian builders have been importing Lebanese cedar for over 1,000 years for use in temples, palaces, and the burial chambers of pharaohs. Your cargo includes planks that have been specially prepared for monumental construction, seasoned and shaped to exact specifications. But the real key to success in the Egyptian market is understanding what Egyptians value beyond simple commercial goods. Egyptian society is deeply religious, and much of the country's wealth is concentrated in temple complexes that serve both spiritual and economic functions. Your cargo includes items specifically designed for religious use: incense burners crafted from precious metals, ceremonial vessels decorated with religious symbols, and exotic materials that will be used in temple decorations and religious ceremonies. You've also brought what might be your most valuable cargo: information. Phoenician merchants serve as a crucial source of intelligence about conditions in other parts of the Mediterranean world. Egyptian officials will pay handsomely for accurate information about military threats, political developments, and commercial opportunities that might affect Egypt's interests. Your arrival at Tanis follows protocols that have been refined through centuries of Phoenician-Egyptian trade relationships. The harbor master who greets your ship is himself descended from a Phoenician merchant family that settled in Egypt 3 generations ago, illustrating the complex networks of kinship and loyalty that facilitate international commerce. "Welcome, Captain Hiram," he says in accented Phoenician, as you present your trading credentials. "Your father's reputation precedes you. The merchants of Tanis have been expecting your arrival." The formal process of entering an Egyptian port involves multiple inspections, registrations, and payments that can take several days to complete. Every item in your cargo must be catalogued and assessed for taxation purposes. Your crew must be registered and their health certified by Egyptian physicians. Your ship must be examined for structural integrity and compliance with Egyptian maritime regulations. These procedures serve multiple purposes beyond simple bureaucratic control. They give Egyptian officials time to evaluate your commercial intentions and political reliability. They provide opportunities for local merchants to assess your cargo and begin preliminary negotiations. Most importantly, they establish the framework of legal protections and obligations that will govern your business activities while in Egyptian territory. The taxation process reveals both the sophistication of Egyptian administration and the challenges facing foreign merchants. Egypt operates what might be the world's most complex system of import duties, with different rates applying to different categories of goods, different treatment for merchants from different countries, and various exemptions and penalties based on political and commercial considerations. Your purple cloth, being a luxury item with high value and low volume, faces the highest tax rates. The cedar planks, being raw materials needed for Egyptian construction projects, qualify for reduced duties. The glass products fall into an intermediate category that requires individual evaluation by specialist assessors. But the real complexity comes from the additional fees and charges that aren't officially taxes but are essential for successful business operations: payments to port officials for expedited processing, contributions to temple funds that ensure religious blessing for your commercial activities, gifts to local merchants who can provide valuable market information and business introductions. Your first major business meeting takes place in a trading hall that serves as the commercial center of Tanis. The building itself demonstrates the wealth and sophistication of Egyptian-Phoenician trade relationships. It's constructed with Lebanese cedar columns, decorated with Phoenician glass mosaic work, and equipped with the latest innovations in Egyptian architectural design. The assembled merchants represent a cross-section of the international trading community that has developed around Egyptian ports, local Egyptian dealers who specialize in luxury goods, Phoenician residents who serve as intermediaries between foreign traders and Egyptian customers, representatives from Mesopotamian trading houses, Greek merchants who are just beginning to compete in markets previously dominated by Phoenicians. The negotiation process follows rituals that balance commercial practicality with social courtesy. Business discussions are interspersed with elaborate meals, religious ceremonies, and social activities that allow all parties to assess each other's reliability and intentions. Your first offer concerns the cedar planks, which represent your most straightforward sale. Egyptian demand for Lebanese cedar is consistent and predictable, and the quality of your cargo has been certified by inspectors in Sidon. The negotiation focuses primarily on price, delivery terms, and payment methods. The discussion reveals the sophisticated financial instruments that facilitate international trade in the ancient world. Direct payment in gold or silver is possible, but represents security risks for large transactions. Instead, you negotiate a combination of immediate partial payment and promissory notes that can be collected from Phoenician merchants in other Egyptian cities. More complex negotiations surround your luxury goods, the purple cloth and glass products that represent the highest profit margins, but also the greatest marketing challenges. These items require careful presentation to potential customers who must be convinced not just of the product's quality, but of their social and symbolic value. The main marketplace of Tanis is a sensory explosion that demonstrates why Egypt has become the crossroads of ancient world commerce. As you walk through the covered bazaars with your potential customers, you're surrounded by products from dozens of different cultures and regions. Nubian merchants offer gold jewelry and exotic animal skins. Arabian traders display frankincense, myrrh, and spices that make food taste like ambrosia. Mesopotamian dealers present intricate metalwork and precious stones. Greek pottery makers show off their latest artistic innovations. And everywhere, Egyptian craftsmen demonstrate why their civilization has become synonymous with luxury and sophistication. The diversity of the marketplace reflects Egypt's unique geographic position at the junction of Africa, Asia, and the Mediterranean world. But it also reveals the challenges you face as a Phoenician merchant trying to distinguish your products in a highly competitive environment. Your strategy focuses on the unique qualities that only Phoenician goods can offer. While other merchants might sell purple cloth, none can match the intensity and permanence of Tyrian purple. While others offer glass products, Phoenician glassmaking techniques create colors and clarity that seem almost magical to customers seeing them for the first time. The presentation of your luxury goods follows theatrical principles designed to maximize their impact on potential customers. The purple cloth is displayed against white Egyptian linen to highlight its richness. The glass products are arranged to catch and reflect sunlight in spectacular ways. Everything is designed to create an impression of otherworldly beauty and craftsmanship. Your potential customers include some of the most influential people in Egyptian society. High priests from major temple complexes who control enormous resources and influence fashion trends throughout the country. Royal architects who are planning construction projects for the pharaoh. Wealthy nobles whose lifestyle choices are copied by aspiring social climbers. But the most important customer category consists of other merchants who will buy your goods for resale in markets throughout Egypt. These dealers understand the commercial value of your products and can provide the distribution networks necessary to reach customers in Memphis, Thebes, and other major Egyptian cities. The negotiation process with merchant customers is more straightforward than dealing with end users, but it requires detailed knowledge of Egyptian market conditions and consumer preferences. You must understand which products are likely to sell quickly, which will require longer marketing efforts, and which might face competition from local alternatives. Your discussions reveal fascinating details about Egyptian consumer behavior and social trends. The demand for purple cloth, for example, isn't simply about displaying wealth. It's also about demonstrating connections to international trade networks and sophisticated cultural knowledge. Wealthy Egyptians have become increasingly interested in products that tell stories about distant places and different peoples. Your cargo includes items that satisfy this curiosity, while also serving practical functions. Glass vessels decorated with scenes of Phoenician maritime life. Cedar furniture carved with designs that reflect Lebanese mountain landscapes. The most successful sales presentations combine product demonstrations with storytelling that explains the cultural and geographical origins of your goods, customers. Want to know not just what they're buying, but where it comes from, how it's made, and what it represents in terms of international connections and cultural sophistication. Your commercial success in Tanis creates new challenges that successful Phoenician merchants must learn to navigate carefully. The more valuable your cargo proves to be, the more attention you attract from people who might prefer to acquire your goods through theft rather than honest trade. The first threat comes from competitors who view your success as a threat to their own business interests. Several Mesopotamian merchants who specialize in luxury goods have been watching your negotiations. With obvious concern, their products, while well made, can't match the unique qualities of Phoenician purple dye and glasswork. The competitive threat manifests initially through attempts to undermine your reputation and cast doubt on the authenticity of your products. Rumors circulate suggesting that your purple dye isn't genuine Tyrian purple, but a cheaper imitation. Questions are raised about the quality of your cedar planks and the craftsmanship of your glass products. Responding to these challenges requires a delicate balance between defending your reputation and avoiding conflicts that could escalate into violence. You arrange for independent verification of your product's authenticity by Egyptian specialists, whose opinions carry weight with local customers. You provide detailed documentation of your goods' origins and manufacturing processes. But the more serious threat comes from criminal elements who view wealthy foreign merchants as attractive targets for robbery or extortion. Your success in the marketplace has made it obvious that you're carrying goods worth a small fortune, making you a target for thieves who operate both on land and at sea. The security arrangements for protecting your cargo require coordination with Egyptian authorities, payment for guards and escorts, and careful planning of your movements between the harbor and marketplace. Even simple tasks like returning to your ship each evening become elaborate security operations. The threat extends beyond your current location to the sea routes you'll need to use for future trading voyages. Pirates operating in Egyptian waters have been monitoring foreign merchant ships, and your visible success makes you a high priority target for future attacks. Your response to these security threats reflects the sophisticated risk management strategies that successful Phoenician merchants have developed over centuries of dangerous trading operations. You arrange for armed escorts when moving valuable cargo. You vary your routes and schedules to avoid predictable patterns. You establish emergency procedures for protecting your crew and cargo if attacks occur. Most importantly, you begin forming alliances with other Phoenician merchants operating in Egyptian waters. Collective security arrangements allow individual ships to share the costs of protection while providing mutual assistance in case of emergencies. The alliance discussions reveal the complex relationships between cooperation and competition that characterize Phoenician commercial networks. Merchants who compete fiercely for the same customers must also work together to address common threats and maintain the overall security that makes profitable trade possible. Your security preparations also involve diplomatic activities designed to ensure continued official protection from Egyptian authorities, gifts to local officials, contributions to temple funds, and careful attention to political sensitivities help maintain the governmental support that's essential for safe and profitable trading operations. After completing your initial sales in Tanis, you prepare for the most challenging part of your Egyptian venture, the journey up the Nile to Memphis, where the greatest profit opportunities await, but where the political and commercial risks are also highest. The Nile journey requires transferring your remaining cargo to smaller vessels, designed specifically for river navigation. Egyptian riverboats are technological marvels adapted to the unique conditions of the Nile, shallow drafts that can navigate seasonal changes in water levels. flexible construction that can handle the stresses of moving against strong currents, and specialized rigging that takes advantage of predictable wind patterns. Your choice of river transport reflects the complex logistics of ancient international trade. You can either charter Egyptian vessels operated by local crews, or you can arrange for Phoenician-owned riverboats operated by crews familiar with your specific requirements and security needs. The decision involves balancing costs, security, and operational flexibility. Egyptian vessels are less expensive, and their crews know the river intimately. But using foreign transport creates potential security vulnerabilities in communication. Difficulties. Phoenician vessels cost more but provide better control over your cargo and greater confidence in the crew's loyalty. You ultimately choose a hybrid approach, an Egyptian vessel operated by a mixed crew that includes both local river specialists and Phoenician security personnel. This arrangement provides the best combination of local knowledge and trustworthy security while keeping costs within acceptable limits. The loading process reveals the sophisticated packaging techniques that protect valuable cargo during river transport. Your remaining purple cloth is wrapped in multiple layers of oiled leather and sealed with wax to prevent water damage. Glass products are packed in specially designed wooden crates filled with sand and wool for shock absorption. Cedar planks are bundled and sealed with pitch to prevent splitting during handling. The river journey itself provides your first extended opportunity to observe Egyptian society from the perspective of someone traveling through the heart of the civilization. The Nile Valley is a ribbon of green fertility, surrounded by desert, densely populated with agricultural settlements, religious centers, and commercial towns that depend on the river for their existence. Your journey takes you past some of the most impressive monuments in the ancient world, temples whose size and grandeur exceed anything in Phoenicia, agricultural estates that feed hundreds of thousands of people, and construction projects that demonstrate the organizational capabilities of Egyptian society. But you also observe signs of the political instability that creates both opportunities and risks for foreign merchants. Military units moving between different regions, fortified positions that suggest ongoing conflicts, administrative centers that show evidence of recent changes in leadership. The river journey provides valuable intelligence-gathering opportunities as you interact with Egyptian officials, merchants, and ordinary citizens. These conversations help you understand current political conditions, assess market opportunities in different regions, and identify potential problems that might affect your business activities. Your discussions with other travelers reveal the complex economic relationships that connect different parts of Egypt with international trade networks. Agricultural producers who depend on foreign markets for their most profitable products. Craftsmen who use imported materials to create goods for both domestic and export sales. Officials whose administrative effectiveness depends partly on tax. Revenue generated by international commerce. Memphis in 950 BC is one of the largest cities in the world. A sprawling metropolis that serves as both the administrative center of Egypt and the focal point of international trade throughout the eastern Mediterranean. As your riverboat approaches the city's harbor, you're struck by the scale and sophistication of the urban landscape spread before you. The harbor itself demonstrates Egypt's commitment to international commerce. Massive stone quays can accommodate dozens of merchant vessels simultaneously. Warehouse complexes provide secure storage for goods awaiting sale or transport. Administrative. Buildings house the bureaucratic apparatus that regulates and taxes commercial activities throughout the region. But it's the city beyond the harbor that truly impresses you. Memphis extends for miles along both sides of the Nile, with residential districts, commercial areas, religious complexes, and administrative centers that dwarf anything in the Phoenician homeland. The population includes not just Egyptians, but representatives from virtually every trading culture in the known world. Your approach to doing business in Memphis reflects lessons learned during centuries of Phoenician commercial operations in major international markets. Success requires more than just good products and competitive prices. It demands understanding of local customs, cultivation of relationships with key decision-makers, and careful navigation of political and social complexities that can make or break commercial ventures. Your first priority is establishing secure accommodations and storage facilities for your cargo. Memphis offers various options ranging from simple warehouse space to elaborate commercial complexes that provide integrated services for foreign merchants. Your choice reflects both security requirements and the image you want to project to. Potential customers, you settle on a mid-level facility operated by a consortium of Phoenician and Egyptian merchants who specialize in luxury goods. The location provides adequate security while offering access to the social and commercial networks that will be essential for successful marketing of your products. The facility itself reflects the cosmopolitan character of international trade. In ancient Memphis, the building incorporates architectural elements from multiple cultures, Egyptian stone construction techniques, Phoenician cedar decorative elements, and Mesopotamian metalwork details. The clientele includes merchants from throughout the Mediterranean and Middle Eastern worlds. Your introduction to the Memphis commercial community follows protocols that have evolved over generations of international trading relationships, formal presentations to established merchant associations, social gatherings that allow assessment of your credentials and intentions, religious ceremonies that invoke divine blessing on commercial activities. The complexity of these social requirements reflects the high stakes involved in Memphis trading operations. The potential profits from successful ventures in Memphis are enormous, large enough to justify years of planning and preparation. But the costs of failure, both financial and reputational, can destroy merchant families and trading enterprises. Your product presentations in Memphis are more elaborate than anything you attempted in Tanis. The customer base includes not just wealthy individuals and local merchants, but also purchasing agents for the pharaoh's court, administrators from major temple complexes, and representatives from other international trading organizations. The purple cloth presentations become theatrical events designed to demonstrate both the product's unique qualities and your family's position within Phoenician commercial networks. Potential customers are invited to examine the cloth under different lighting conditions, compare it with inferior products offered by competitors, and hear detailed explanations of the complex manufacturing process that creates such remarkable results. Your greatest opportunity in Memphis comes through an unexpected connection that illustrates how success in ancient international trade often depends on personal relationships and social networks that extend far beyond simple commercial transactions. During a social gathering at your commercial facility, you encounter Kaimwaset, a high-ranking official in the pharaoh's administration who is responsible for managing royal construction projects. Kaimwaset's duties include procuring materials for temples, palaces, and tomb complexes, making him one of the most important potential customers for your cedar planks and luxury goods. The introduction comes through your host, a Phoenician merchant who has been operating in Memphis for over a decade and has carefully cultivated relationships with Egyptian officials. The social protocol surrounding the introduction reflects the delicate balance between commercial interest and diplomatic courtesy that characterizes high-level ancient business relationships. Captain Hiram, your host announces, I would like to present Waset, architect of the gods and servant of the divine pharaoh. His current projects include restoration of the Great Temple at Memphis and construction of a new burial complex in the Sacred Valley. Waset's response reveals both his professional interest in your products and his careful adherence to Egyptian diplomatic customs. The fame of Phoenician cedar has reached even the pharaoh's court, he says formally. We have heard that your family's timber has been blessed by the gods and carries the strength of Lebanon's mountains. The conversation that follows combines detailed technical discussions about construction requirements with broader exchanges about political conditions, religious beliefs, and cultural traditions. This multi-layered approach allows all parties to assess each other's reliability and intentions while exploring potential business opportunities. Waset's interest in your cedar cargo reflects specific requirements for his current construction projects. Egyptian builders have been using Lebanese cedar for monumental construction for over 1,000 years, but the quality and characteristics of individual timber shipments can vary significantly. His questions focus on the age of your trees, the seasoning process used to prepare the planks, and the specific dimensions available for different construction applications. Your responses demonstrate the sophisticated quality control processes that distinguish Phoenician timber operations from competitors. Every tree used for construction-grade lumber is individually selected based on growth characteristics, wood, density, and freedom from defects. The seasoning process follows traditional methods that have been refined over generations to produce planks with optimal strength and stability. But Kayamwaset's interest extends beyond your current cargo to the possibility of establishing ongoing supply relationships for future construction projects. The Pharaoh's building program includes multiple projects that will require substantial quantities of high-quality cedar over several years. The negotiation process that follows involves not just immediate sales but also longer-term commitments that could establish your family as a preferred supplier for royal construction projects. Such relationships represent the ultimate achievement. For Phoenician merchants, they provide predictable demand for your products, premium pricing based on official endorsement, and prestigious associations that enhance your reputation throughout the commercial world. However, royal supply contracts also involve obligations and risks that must be carefully considered. Failure to meet delivery commitments or quality standards can result in severe penalties and permanent exclusion from Egyptian markets. Political changes can void existing agreements or create new requirements that are impossible to fulfill. The preliminary agreement you reach with Kayamwaset represents a carefully balanced arrangement that provides benefits for both parties while limiting risks to acceptable levels. You commit to supplying specific quantities of cedar planks over the next 2 years, with delivery schedules coordinated with construction project requirements. In return, you receive premium pricing and official recognition as a royal supplier. Your business activities in Memphis inevitably involve the powerful temple complexes that control significant portions of Egypt's wealth and influence. The relationship between Phoenician merchants and Egyptian religious institutions represents both tremendous opportunities and considerable challenges that require careful navigation of theological, political, and commercial considerations. The Great Temple of Ptah at Memphis is one of the wealthiest and most influential religious institutions in Egypt. The temple complex employs thousands of priests, craftsmen, and administrators, controls vast agricultural estates, and operates commercial enterprises that compete directly with private merchants. Most importantly for your purposes, the temple purchases large quantities of luxury goods for religious ceremonies and decorative purposes. Your approach to temple commerce reflects the sophisticated understanding of Egyptian religious culture that successful Phoenician merchants must develop. Temple purchases aren't simply commercial transactions, they're religious acts that must conform to complex theological requirements and ritual procedures. Your purple cloth, for example, can't simply be sold to temple purchasers as a luxury product. It must be presented as a material suitable for creating garments that honor the gods and enhance the spiritual effectiveness of religious ceremonies. The sales presentation includes detailed explanations of the religious significance of purple color in Phoenician culture and its appropriateness for Egyptian religious use. The glass products in your cargo present different but equally complex marketing challenges. Egyptian religious traditions have specific requirements for ceremonial vessels, and foreign-made products must be evaluated not just for their aesthetic qualities but also for their theological appropriateness. Your strategy involves working with Egyptian religious specialists who can certify that your products conform to local religious requirements. This process requires payments to consultants, modifications to standard products, and sometimes complete redesign of items to meet specific religious needs. But the temple market also offers unique advantages for foreign merchants who learn to navigate its complexities successfully. Temple purchases are typically made in large quantities for immediate payment in gold or silver. Temple endorsement of your products provides credibility that enhances sales to private customers. Most importantly, successful temple relationships can provide protection against political changes that might otherwise threaten foreign merchants. Your negotiations with temple purchasers reveal the sophisticated commercial operations that support Egyptian religious institutions. The temples operate their own workshops, warehouses, and trading networks. They maintain detailed inventories of materials needed for various religious purposes. They employ specialized buyers who are experts in evaluating foreign products for religious use. The purchasing process involves multiple levels of approval and inspection that reflect the temple's responsibility for ensuring that religious activities are conducted with appropriate materials and according to proper procedures. Your products must be examined by priests who understand their religious significance, craftsmen who can evaluate their quality, and administrators who can negotiate acceptable terms. The most complex negotiations involve products that will be used in the most sacred religious ceremonies. These items must meet the highest quality standards and often require customization to meet specific religious requirements, but they also command premium prices and provide access to the most influential religious leaders in Egyptian society. Your success in the temple market depends partly on your ability to understand and respect Egyptian religious beliefs while maintaining your identity as a Phoenician merchant. This balance requires careful attention to cultural sensitivities and religious protocols while pursuing commercial objectives. The Memphis marketplace is a complex ecosystem where Phoenician merchants must balance competition and cooperation with traders from throughout the ancient world. Your success depends not just on the quality of your products, but also on your ability to navigate relationships with competitors, allies, and potential partners from different cultural and commercial backgrounds. The most direct competition comes from other Phoenician merchants who are selling similar products to the same customers, while you share cultural connections and sometimes family relationships with these competitors. Commercial success requires distinguishing your offerings and building customer loyalty that can't be easily transferred to rival suppliers. Your strategy for dealing with Phoenician competitors involves a combination of product differentiation, market segmentation, and selective cooperation on issues of mutual interest. Your purple cloth, for example, is marketed based on the specific characteristics that distinguish your family's dyeing techniques from those used by competitors from Sidon or other Phoenician cities. But competition also comes from non-Phoenician sources that present different kinds of challenges. Mesopotamian merchants offer luxury goods that appeal to similar customer segments, but with different cultural associations and aesthetic characteristics. Greek traders are beginning to establish a presence in Egyptian markets with pottery and metalwork that represents alternative artistic traditions. The growing Greek presence in Egyptian markets represents a particular concern for established Phoenician merchants. Greek traders often operate with lower overhead costs and different business models that allow them to offer competitive prices while still maintaining acceptable profit margins. Their products, while different in style from Phoenician goods, appeal to Egyptian customers who are interested in artistic variety and cultural novelty. Your approach to Greek competition involves emphasizing the unique qualities that only Phoenician products can offer, while also exploring opportunities for cooperative arrangements that might benefit both sides. Some Greek merchants, for example, specialize in products that complement rather than compete with Phoenician offerings. The most promising cooperative relationships develop with merchants who operate in different market segments or serve different customer categories. A Greek pottery specialist might refer customers to you for purple cloth purchases, while you might recommend his products to customers who need items that you don't carry. These cooperative arrangements reflect the sophisticated understanding of market dynamics that successful ancient merchants must develop. While competition for individual sales can be fierce, the overall success of international trade depends on maintaining relationships that support the entire commercial ecosystem. Your participation in merchant associations and social organizations provides formal frameworks for managing competitive relationships while addressing common concerns. These organizations establish guidelines for fair competition, coordinate responses to external threats, and provide mechanisms for resolving disputes between members. The social aspects of merchant relationships are as important as the formal. Commercial arrangements, regular gatherings, shared meals, and participation in religious ceremonies create personal connections that influence business relationships. Trust, reputation, and social status become crucial factors in commercial success. Your success in Memphis depends partly on your ability to balance competitive and cooperative instincts while building relationships that support both immediate commercial objectives and longer-term strategic goals. The merchants who prosper in international markets are those who understand that collaboration and competition often occur simultaneously in the same relationships. One of your most profitable opportunities in Memphis involves connecting your maritime trading operations with the overland caravan routes that bring goods from deep within Africa and Asia. These connections represent some of the most lucrative aspects of ancient international commerce, but they also involve the greatest risks and the most complex logistical challenges. The caravan trade operates on different principles from maritime commerce. While sea voyages can be completed in weeks or months, overland journeys often require years of travel through dangerous territories controlled by different political authorities. The goods transported by caravans are typically high-value, low-volume items that can justify the enormous costs and risks involved in long-distance overland transport. Your entry into caravan commerce begins with an opportunity to purchase African goods that complement your existing inventory while providing access to markets that aren't accessible through maritime routes. A caravan recently arrived in Memphis, carrying ivory, gold, and exotic animal products from regions far south of Egyptian control. The ivory is particularly attractive because it represents a product category that's highly valued by wealthy customers throughout the Mediterranean world, but that's available only through African sources. Phoenician craftsmen can transform raw ivory into decorative objects and luxury items that command enormous prices in markets from Spain to Mesopotamia. Your negotiations with the caravan merchants reveal the complex financial arrangements that support long-distance overland trade. Caravan operations typically involve partnerships between multiple investors who share both costs and profits. Individual merchants rarely have the resources necessary to organize and fund entire expeditions, so success depends on sophisticated cooperative arrangements. The caravan trade also involves different risk profiles from maritime commerce. While sea voyages face threats from storms and pirates, caravan routes must deal with desert conditions, tribal conflicts, and political instabilities that can develop over the years required for round-trip journeys. Your investment in African goods represents both an immediate opportunity to expand your inventory and a longer-term strategy for developing connections with overland trading networks. The relationships you establish with caravan merchants in Memphis can provide access to future trading opportunities and intelligence about conditions in markets that aren't accessible to purely maritime traders. The logistics of integrating caravan goods with your maritime operations require careful planning and additional security arrangements. The ivory you purchase must be transported from Memphis back to Phoenician ports, then distributed to craftsmen, who can transform it into finished products for sale in various markets. These operations involve coordinating with Phoenician merchants who specialize in working with different materials, arranging transport and security for valuable cargo, and timing production and delivery to take advantage of seasonal market conditions in different regions. The success of your caravan investment depends partly on your ability to understand market conditions and consumer preferences in regions you may never visit personally. The ivory products you commission must appeal to customers in Spain, Greece, or Mesopotamia, whose aesthetic preferences and cultural values may be very different from those you encounter in Egypt. Your caravan connections also provide access to intelligence about political and economic conditions throughout Africa and Asia. This information can be valuable for planning future trading operations, identifying new market opportunities, and anticipating changes that might affect established commercial relationships. Your profitable activities in Memphis are suddenly threatened by political developments that illustrate how quickly conditions can change for foreign merchants operating in unstable political environments. A succession crisis in the pharaoh's court creates uncertainties that affect everything from tax policies to security arrangements for international traders. The crisis begins when the current pharaoh falls seriously ill and competing factions begin maneuvering to influence the succession process. While such political conflicts might seem remote from commercial activities, they have immediate and direct impacts on foreign merchants whose legal status and business relationships depend on governmental stability. Your royal supply contract with Camwaset becomes particularly problematic as different court factions question existing commitments and propose changes in procurement policies. Some officials argue that Egypt should reduce its dependence on foreign suppliers and develop domestic alternatives to imported products. The political uncertainty affects your business operations in multiple ways. Egyptian customers become reluctant to make large purchases or long-term commitments When they're uncertain about future political conditions, port officials implement new security measures that delay shipments and increase operating costs. Most seriously, some Egyptian merchants begin questioning whether existing contracts and agreements will be honored by a new government. Your response to the political crisis reflects risk management strategies that experienced Phoenician merchants have developed for dealing with unstable political conditions. You accelerate efforts to complete existing sales and collect outstanding payments. You avoid making new commitments that might be difficult to fulfill if conditions deteriorate further. Most importantly, you begin cultivating relationships with representatives from all major court factions to ensure that your business interest will be protected regardless of how the succession crisis is resolved. This requires careful diplomatic balancing too. Avoid appearing to favor any particular faction while maintaining access to key decision-makers. The succession crisis also affects the broader international trading community in Memphis. Merchants from different countries find themselves caught between competing Egyptian factions that have different attitudes toward foreign trade and different relationships with various trading nations. Some factions favor policies that would increase restrictions on foreign merchants and provide greater advantages for Egyptian traders. Others support continued openness to international commerce as essential for Egypt's economic prosperity. Your success depends partly on ensuring that pro-trade factions maintain sufficient influence regardless of who becomes pharaoh. The crisis provides opportunities as well as threats. Political instability creates demand for certain products. Weapons and military supplies become more valuable, while luxury goods may become harder to sell. Some Egyptian merchants who are closely associated with losing factions may be forced to sell their inventories at reduced prices. Your navigation of the political crisis demonstrates the sophisticated understanding of power dynamics that successful international merchants must develop. Commerce in the ancient world isn't simply a matter of buying and selling products. It requires constant attention to political developments and the ability to adapt quickly to changing conditions. The resolution of the succession crisis, when it finally comes, validates your cautious but engaged approach to political risk management. The new pharaoh implements policies that generally favor international trade while making specific changes that affect foreign merchants' operations. Your advanced preparation and diplomatic efforts help ensure that these changes don't significantly damage your business interests. After 3 months in Memphis, you've achieved commercial success that exceeds your original expectations. But you've also learned that success in ancient international trade creates new challenges and responsibilities that must be carefully managed. Your return journey to Phoenicia will involve not just transporting goods and profits, but also managing the complex relationships and commitments you've established in Egypt. Your cargo for the return voyage represents a fundamental transformation from your original trading mission. Instead of carrying primarily Phoenician products to Egyptian markets, you're now transporting Egyptian goods, African specialties, and international products that will be sold in Phoenician ports or distributed to other Mediterranean markets. The Egyptian goods in your return cargo include papyrus, linen textiles, and specialized craft products that are highly valued in Phoenician markets. Egyptian papyrus is the preferred writing material throughout the Mediterranean world, and your cargo includes both raw papyrus and finished scrolls prepared by Egyptian scribes. The linen textiles represent Egyptian expertise in working with flax fibers to create fabrics that are finer and more durable than similar products available elsewhere. These textiles will find ready markets among wealthy Phoenician customers and can also be exported to other Mediterranean regions, where Egyptian linen commands premium prices. Your African goods, primarily ivory and exotic decorative materials, represent longer-term investment opportunities that will require additional processing before they can be sold to end customers. The ivory will be distributed to Phoenician craftsmen who specialize in carving luxury items for wealthy customers throughout the region, but your most valuable return cargo consists of information and business relationships rather than physical products. The commercial intelligence you've gathered about Egyptian market conditions, consumer preferences, and political developments will be valuable to other Phoenician merchants planning their own Egyptian ventures. The business relationships you've established with Egyptian customers, suppliers, and officials represent assets that can generate profits for years to come. Your royal supply contract provides ongoing revenue opportunities while enhancing your family's reputation throughout. Phoenician commercial networks. However, your success also creates obligations that will influence your future trading operations. Customer commitments require you to make return voyages on specific schedules with guaranteed product availability. Partnership agreements with Egyptian merchants involve you in their commercial activities and political relationships. Your departure from Memphis follows ceremonial protocols that reflect the relationships you've built during your extended stay. Official farewell meetings with government administrators who have facilitated your business activities, social gatherings, with merchant colleagues who have become personal friends, as well as business associates, religious ceremonies that invoke divine protection for your return voyage. The complexity of these departure protocols reflects the sophisticated social and commercial networks that support international trade in the ancient world. Success depends not just on individual commercial transactions, but on maintaining the relationships and reputations that enable continued access to profitable opportunities. Your preparations for the return voyage include security arrangements that reflect the increased risks associated with carrying valuable cargo and large amounts of gold and silver. Your success in Memphis has made you a high-priority target for pirates and thieves who monitor merchant vessels leaving Egyptian ports. Your departure from Egyptian waters marks the beginning of the most dangerous phase of your trading voyage. The return journey with valuable cargo makes you an attractive target for the pirates who prey on successful merchants, and your security arrangements must balance protective measures with the operational requirements of maritime commerce. The pirate threat in the eastern Mediterranean has been growing as political instabilities in various regions create opportunities for maritime criminals to operate with reduced risk of official retaliation. Some pirates are simply criminals who attack any vulnerable vessels they encounter. Others are more sophisticated organizations that gather intelligence about merchant activities and plan attacks on the most lucrative targets. Your ship's defensive capabilities reflect modifications that experienced Phoenician merchants make to their vessels for protection against pirate attacks. The Star of Astarte has been equipped with additional weapons, armor plating around critical areas, and concealed compartments for protecting the most valuable cargo during attacks. Your crew includes several men who specialize in maritime security operations. These aren't ordinary sailors, but experienced fighters who understand both seamanship and combat tactics. Their presence provides deterrent value against opportunistic attackers while offering real protection if serious conflicts develop. The route planning for your return voyage involves avoiding areas where pirate activity has been reported while maintaining schedules that don't compromise your commercial obligations. This requires detailed intelligence about current conditions in different regions and flexibility to adjust plans based on new information. Your first major security test comes while sailing north from the Egyptian coast towards Cyprus. Lookouts spot what appears to be a pirate vessel shadowing your course, at a distance that suggests hostile intentions. The ship is faster than yours and appears to be waiting for favorable conditions to launch an attack. Your response reflects tactical principles that Phoenician merchants have developed for dealing with pirate threats, rather than attempting to outrun the pirates or fight them directly. You alter your course toward waters that are patrolled by Egyptian naval vessels, making an attack less likely to succeed and more likely to result in official retaliation against the pirates. The strategy works. The suspected pirate vessel abandons its pursuit when you enter waters where Egyptian patrol boats are active, but the encounter reinforces your awareness of the constant threats that maritime merchants must navigate throughout their operations. Your security arrangements also include diplomatic preparations for dealing with officials in ports where you'll need to stop for supplies or repairs. Some local authorities are reliable allies who will provide assistance to Phoenician merchants under attack. Others are more ambiguous and might be influenced by bribes from pirates or other hostile interests. The most sophisticated security threat comes from pirates who have infiltrated port communities and can gather detailed intelligence about merchant activities. These criminals know which ships are carrying valuable cargo, what routes they're planning to follow, and when they'll be most vulnerable to attack. Your counterintelligence efforts include misleading information about your planned route and cargo, coded communications with trusted contacts, and payments to local informants. who can provide warning about planned attacks. The security costs associated with your return voyage represent a significant portion of your total operating expenses. Armed guards, defensive modifications to your ship, insurance arrangements, and intelligence operations all reduce your profit. Margins while being essential for successful completion of dangerous trading missions. Your approach to Phoenician waters after 4 months of dangerous trading operations represents more than just the successful completion of a commercial voyage. It's a homecoming that will influence your family's reputation and business relationships for years to come. The harbor at Tyre, when it finally comes into view, represents security, familiarity, and the successful conclusion of risks that could have destroyed everything you've worked to achieve. But it also represents new challenges as you transition. From independent merchant captain to member of a complex commercial and social community with its own expectations and obligations, your arrival follows protocols that announce both your success and your availability for new business relationships. The cargo you're carrying, the profits you've earned, and the contacts you've established in Egypt will be of interest not just to your immediate family but to the entire network of merchants, craftsmen, and officials who depend on successful trading operations for their own prosperity. The unloading process becomes a public demonstration of your commercial achievements. The Egyptian goods in your cargo attract immediate attention from local merchants who specialize in reselling imported products. The African ivory generates interest from craftsmen who can transform it into luxury items for wealthy customers. But the most valuable cargo you're carrying consists of information and relationships rather than physical goods. Your detailed knowledge of current conditions in Egyptian markets will be valuable to other Phoenician merchants planning their own voyages. The business relationships you've established with Egyptian customers and suppliers create opportunities for collaborative ventures and referral arrangements. Your financial success from the voyage provides capital for future trading operations, while also creating obligations to family members, business partners, and the broader community that supported your initial venture. Phoenician commercial culture includes expectations about sharing the benefits of successful trading operations with the people and institutions that make them possible. Your first priority involves settling accounts with the investors who helped finance your voyage. These arrangements reflect the complex financial relationships that support Phoenician trading operations. Some investors provided direct capital in exchange for shares of profits. Others supplied goods or services in return for preferred treatment in future business deals. The accounting process reveals the sophisticated financial management practices that successful Phoenician merchants must master. Every transaction during your voyage has been carefully documented, with detailed records of purchases, sales, expenses, and revenues that allow precise calculation of profits and accurate distribution of returns to investors. Your profit margins from the Egyptian voyage exceed expectations, despite the significant costs associated with security arrangements, political uncertainties, and the complex logistics of managing multiple different business relationships simultaneously. The success provides capital for expanding your trading operations, while also creating opportunities to invest in other merchants' ventures. The cooperative aspects of Phoenician commerce mean that today's successful merchant becomes tomorrow's investor in other people's trading expeditions. Your homecoming celebrations combine personal satisfaction with public recognition of commercial achievement. Family gatherings acknowledge your successful continuation of trading traditions that have supported your household for generations. Community ceremonies recognize your contribution to the broader prosperity that depends on successful international commerce. Your successful Egyptian trading voyage creates effects that extend far beyond your immediate commercial interests, illustrating how individual merchant activities contribute to the broader economic and cultural networks that connect different civilizations throughout the Mediterranean world. The Egyptian goods you've brought back to Phoenicia quickly find their way into local markets, where they influence fashion trends, artistic styles, and consumer preferences. The papyrus in your cargo enables scribes to create documents and records that facilitate other commercial activities. The linen textiles inspire local weavers to experiment with new techniques and designs. Your African ivory generates particular interest among Phoenician craftsmen who specialize in luxury products. The raw materials you've provided enable them to create carved objects, decorative items, and artistic works that will be exported throughout the Mediterranean region, spreading African aesthetic influences to places that have no direct contact with African cultures. But the most significant impact comes from the information and relationships you've brought back from Egypt. Your detailed knowledge of Egyptian market conditions, consumer preferences, and business opportunities influences the planning and preparation of other Phoenician merchants who are considering their own Egyptian ventures. The business relationships you've established with Egyptian customers and suppliers create opportunities for collaborative arrangements that benefit both Phoenician and Egyptian interests. Your royal supply contract, for example, provides guaranteed demand for Lebanese cedar that supports forestry operations throughout the region while ensuring steady supply of construction materials for Egyptian building projects. Your success also influences the strategic thinking of Phoenician political and commercial leaders who are responsible for managing relationships with foreign governments and coordinating the activities of individual merchants to support broader national interests. The intelligence you've gathered about Egyptian political conditions, military capabilities, and economic policies provides valuable information for Phoenician diplomatic activities. Your observations about internal conflicts and succession struggles help Phoenician leaders understand the risks and opportunities associated with different policy approaches toward Egypt. Your commercial success demonstrates the continued viability of traditional Phoenician trading strategies, while also revealing new challenges and opportunities that require adaptive responses. The growing Greek presence in Egyptian markets, for example, represents a competitive threat that may require changes in Phoenician commercial practices. The financial profits from your voyage contribute to the capital accumulation that enables expanded Phoenician commercial activities. Your success provides resources for larger trading ventures, more sophisticated ships, and expanded networks of commercial relationships throughout the Mediterranean world. Your voyage also contributes to the cultural exchanges that enrich civilizations throughout the ancient world. The goods, ideas, and artistic influences that you've transported between Egypt and Phoenicia become part of the broader cultural diffusion that spreads innovations and artistic styles across political and ethnic boundaries. The craftsmen who work with your African ivory learn techniques and aesthetic principles that influence their future creations. The customers who purchase your Egyptian textiles adopt fashion styles that reflect Egyptian cultural influences. The scribes who use your papyrus create documents that preserve and transmit knowledge between different civilizations. These cultural exchanges represent one of the most important but least visible contributions that merchant activities make to human civilization. Individual trading voyages like yours create the networks of communication and exchange that enable different cultures to learn from each other and develop more sophisticated technologies, artistic styles, and social institutions. Your success as a Phoenician sea trader creates both opportunities and obligations for the next generation of your family, illustrating how individual commercial achievements become part of the larger patterns of inheritance, tradition, and adaptation that shape merchant families over multiple generations. Your son Melkart, now 15 years old, has been watching your trading activities with the intense interest of someone who understands that his future depends on learning the complex skills that successful maritime commerce requires. Your recent Egyptian voyage represents both an educational opportunity and a test of his readiness to assume increasing responsibilities in family business operations. The training of young Phoenician merchants involves a carefully structured progression from observer to participant to leader that typically spans several years and multiple trading voyages. The skills required for success include not just commercial knowledge, but also diplomatic capabilities, technical expertise, and cultural understanding that can only be developed through extensive practical experience. Melkart's education began in childhood with basic instruction in mathematics, reading, and writing, skills that are essential for maintaining commercial records, calculating profits and losses, and communicating with business partners in different regions. But his real education in maritime trading has come through accompanying you on shorter voyages and observing your business methods. Your Egyptian voyage provides an opportunity to evaluate Melkart's readiness for greater responsibilities. while also beginning his introduction to the most complex and profitable aspects of international commerce. His observations of your negotiations, customer relationships, and risk management strategies will influence his own approach to trading activities throughout his career. The succession planning process involves more than just training individual skills. It requires understanding the broader strategic position of your family within Phoenician commercial networks and the international relationships that support profitable trading operations. Your success in Egypt has enhanced your family's reputation and expanded your network of business relationships, but it has also created expectations and obligations that the next generation must be prepared to fulfill. Customer commitments, supplier relationships, and political connections all require ongoing attention and maintenance. Melkart's development as a merchant must take into account the changing conditions that will influence future trading operations, the growing Greek presence in Mediterranean markets, the political instabilities in various regions, and the technological innovations that are changing maritime commerce all represent challenges that his generation will need to address. Your approach to training emphasizes adaptability and strategic thinking rather than simply following traditional practices. While respect for proven methods is important, success in changing conditions requires the ability to recognize new opportunities and develop innovative responses to emerging challenges. The family business discussions that follow your Egyptian voyage involve planning for multiple future scenarios based on different possible developments in international politics, market conditions, and competitive situations. These strategic planning sessions help prepare Melkart for the kind of long-term thinking that successful merchants must master. Your success also provides resources for expanding the family's commercial operations beyond traditional trading activities, investment opportunities in other merchants' ventures, partnerships with craftsmen and manufacturers, and even potential involvement in colonial ventures all represent possibilities that the next generation must be prepared to evaluate and manage. Your individual success as a Phoenician merchant takes place within the context of broader developments throughout the Mediterranean world that are reshaping the political, economic, and cultural landscape in ways that will profoundly influence future trading opportunities and challenges. The Greek city-states are experiencing a period of expansion and innovation that is beginning to challenge Phoenician dominance. In certain maritime markets, Greek merchants are developing new trading techniques, exploring new routes, and establishing their own commercial networks that compete directly with established Phoenician operations. The Greek challenge represents more than simple commercial competition. It reflects different approaches to maritime culture, political organization, and international relationships that may prove more effective than traditional Phoenician methods in changing conditions. Greek city-states tend to establish trading posts and colonies that maintain stronger political connections with their home cities than typical Phoenician settlements. This approach provides certain advantages in terms of military protection and coordinated economic policies, though it may also create rigidities that limit adaptive flexibility. Greek innovations in shipbuilding, navigation, and commercial organization are also beginning to influence Mediterranean trading practices. Some Greek vessels incorporate design features that provide advantages in speed, cargo capacity, or defensive capabilities compared to traditional Phoenician ships. Your observations during your Egyptian voyage have provided insights into Greek commercial methods and their potential impact on future Phoenician operations. The Greek merchants you encountered in Memphis were using different business models, serving different customer segments, and building different types of relationships with Egyptian partners. Some of these Greek innovations represent genuine improvements that Phoenician merchants might benefit from adopting. Others reflect specific Greek cultural values or political arrangements that may not be suitable for Phoenician operations. The challenge is distinguishing between useful innovations and approaches that are incompatible with Phoenician commercial traditions. The broader political situation throughout the Mediterranean is also changing in ways that affect maritime trading conditions. The Egyptian political instabilities you witnessed during your voyage are part of larger patterns of political fragmentation that are creating both opportunities and risks for international merchants. Some regions are becoming more open to foreign Trade as local rulers seek to attract commerce that generates tax revenue and provides access to goods and services that aren't available domestically. Other areas are implementing restrictions on foreign merchants as part of efforts to protect local industries and maintain political control. The changing political landscape requires constant attention to diplomatic developments and their potential commercial implications. Successful merchants must understand not just immediate market conditions, but also longer-term political trends that might affect access to different regions and relationships with various trading partners. Your success in navigating the Egyptian political crisis demonstrates the kind of diplomatic skills that will become increasingly important as Mediterranean political conditions continue to evolve. The ability to maintain business relationships across political changes while avoiding involvement in conflicts that could threaten commercial interests represents a crucial capability for international merchants. The success of your Egyptian trading voyage provides both the capital and the motivation for implementing innovations and adaptations that will help maintain your competitive advantages in changing Mediterranean commercial conditions. Your experience with pirate threats during the return voyage has convinced you that traditional security arrangements are no longer adequate for protecting valuable cargo in increasingly dangerous maritime conditions. The modifications you're planning for the Star of Astarte reflect new approaches to merchant vessel design that balance defensive capabilities with commercial functionality. The proposed changes include structural reinforcements that will make the ship more difficult to damage during attacks, concealed compartments for protecting the most valuable cargo, and improved armament that will provide effective defensive capabilities without compromising sailing performance. The financial profits from your voyage contribute to the capital accumulation that enables expanded Phoenician commercial activities. Your success provides resources for larger trading ventures, more sophisticated ships, and expanded networks of commercial relationships throughout the Mediterranean world. Your voyage also contributes to the cultural exchanges that enrich civilizations throughout the ancient world. The goods, ideas, and artistic influences that you've transported between Egypt and Phoenicia become part of the broader cultural diffusion that spreads innovations and artistic styles across political and ethnic boundaries. The craftsmen who work with your African ivory learn techniques and aesthetic principles that influence their future creations. The customers who purchase your Egyptian textiles adopt fashion styles that reflect Egyptian cultural influences. The scribes who use your papyrus create documents that preserve and transmit knowledge between different civilizations. These cultural exchanges represent one of the most important but least visible contributions that merchant activities make to human civilization. Individual trading voyages like yours create the networks of communication and exchange that enable different cultures to learn from each other and develop more sophisticated technologies, artistic styles, and social institutions. Your success as a Phoenician sea trader creates both opportunities and obligations for the next generation of your family, illustrating how individual commercial achievements become part of the larger patterns of inheritance, tradition, and adaptation that shape merchant families over multiple generations. Your son Melkart, now 15 years old, has been watching your trading activities with the intense interest of someone who understands that his future depends on learning the complex skills that successful maritime commerce requires. Your recent Egyptian voyage represents both an educational opportunity and a test of his readiness to assume increasing responsibilities in family business operations. The training of young Phoenician merchants involves a carefully structured progression from observer to participant to leader that typically spans several years and multiple trading voyages. The skills required for success include not just commercial knowledge, but also diplomatic capabilities, technical expertise, and cultural understanding that can only be developed through extensive practical experience. Melkar's education began in childhood with basic instruction in mathematics, reading, and writing, skills that are essential for maintaining commercial records, calculating profits and losses, and communicating with business partners in different regions. But his real education in maritime trading has come through accompanying you on shorter voyages and observing your business methods. Your Egyptian voyage provides an opportunity to evaluate Melkart's readiness for greater responsibilities, while also beginning his introduction to the most complex and profitable aspects of international commerce. His observations of your negotiations, customer relationships, and risk management strategies will influence his own approach to trading activities throughout his career. The succession planning process involves more than just training individual skills. It requires understanding the broader strategic position of your family within Phoenician commercial networks and the international relationships that support profitable trading operations. Your success in Egypt has enhanced your family's reputation and expanded your network of business relationships. But it has also created expectations and obligations that the next generation must be prepared to fulfill. Customer commitments, supplier relationships, and political connections all require ongoing attention and maintenance. Melkart's development as a merchant must take into account the changing conditions that will influence future trading operations, the growing Greek presence in Mediterranean markets, the political instabilities in various regions, and the technological innovations that are changing maritime commerce all represent challenges that his generation will need to address. Your approach to training emphasizes adaptability and strategic thinking rather than simply following traditional practices. While respect for proven methods is important, success in changing conditions requires the ability to recognize new opportunities and develop innovative responses to emerging challenges. The family business discussions that follow your Egyptian voyage involve planning for multiple future scenarios, based on different possible developments in international politics, market conditions, and competitive situations. These strategic planning sessions help prepare Melkart for the kind of long-term thinking that successful merchants must master. Your success also provides resources for expanding the family's commercial operations beyond traditional trading activities, investment opportunities in other merchants' ventures, partnerships with craftsmen and manufacturers, and even potential involvement in colonial ventures all represent possibilities that the next generation must be prepared to evaluate and manage. Your individual success as a Phoenician merchant takes place within the context of broader developments throughout the Mediterranean world that are reshaping the political, economic, and cultural landscape in ways that will profoundly influence future trading opportunities and challenges. The Greek city-states are experiencing a period of expansion and innovation that is beginning to challenge Phoenician dominance. In certain maritime markets, Greek merchants are developing new trading techniques, exploring new routes, and establishing their own commercial networks that compete directly with established Phoenician operations. The Greek challenge represents more than simple commercial competition. It reflects different approaches to maritime culture, political organization, and international relationships that may prove more effective than traditional Phoenician methods in changing conditions. Greek city-states tend to establish trading posts and colonies that maintain stronger political connections with their home cities than typical Phoenician settlements. This approach provides certain advantages in terms of military protection and coordinated economic policies, though it may also create rigidities that limit adaptive flexibility. Greek innovations in shipbuilding, navigation, and commercial organization are also beginning to influence Mediterranean trading practices. Some Greek vessels incorporate design features that provide advantages in speed, cargo capacity, or defensive capabilities compared to traditional Phoenician ships. Your observations during your Egyptian voyage have provided insights into Greek commercial methods and their potential impact on future Phoenician operations. The Greek merchants you encountered in Memphis were using different business models, serving different customer segments, and building different types of relationships with Egyptian partners. Some of these Greek innovations represent genuine improvements that Phoenician merchants might benefit from adopting. Others reflect specific Greek cultural values or political arrangements that may not be suitable for Phoenician operations. The challenge is distinguishing between useful innovations and approaches that are incompatible with Phoenician commercial traditions. The broader political situation throughout the Mediterranean is also changing in ways that affect maritime trading conditions. The Egyptian political instabilities you witnessed during your voyage are part of larger patterns of political fragmentation that are creating both opportunities and risks for international merchants. Some regions are becoming more open to foreign, Trade as local rulers seek to attract commerce that generates tax revenue and provides access to goods and services that aren't available domestically. Other areas are implementing restrictions on foreign merchants as part of efforts to protect local industries and maintain political control. The changing political landscape requires constant attention to diplomatic developments and their potential commercial implications. Successful merchants must understand not just immediate market conditions, but also longer-term political trends that might affect access to different regions and relationships with various trading partners. Your success in navigating the Egyptian political crisis demonstrates the kind of diplomatic skills that will become increasingly important as Mediterranean political conditions continue to evolve. The ability to maintain business relationships across political changes while avoiding involvement in conflicts that could threaten commercial interests represents a crucial capability for international merchants. The success of your Egyptian trading voyage provides both the capital and the motivation for implementing innovations and adaptations that will help maintain your competitive advantages in changing Mediterranean commercial conditions. Your experience with pirate threats during the return voyage has convinced you that traditional security arrangements are no longer adequate for protecting valuable cargo in increasingly dangerous maritime conditions. The modifications you're planning for the Star of Astarte reflect new approaches to merchant vessel design that balance defensive capabilities with commercial functionality. The proposed changes include structural reinforcements that will make the ship more difficult to damage during attacks, concealed compartments for protecting the most valuable cargo, and improved armament that will provide effective defensive capabilities without compromising sailing performance. But the most significant innovation involves coordinated security arrangements with other Phoenician merchants who operate similar routes. The collaborative approach to maritime security reflects recognition that individual defensive measures are insufficient for dealing with sophisticated pirate organizations that coordinate their attacks and share intelligence about merchant activities. The security cooperation arrangements involve sharing costs for armed escorts, coordinating sailing schedules to enable mutual protection, and establishing communication systems that provide early warning about pirate activities. These collaborative measures provide better security than individual efforts while distributing costs among multiple merchants. Your commercial innovations focus on improving the efficiency and profitability of international trading operations through better organization, more sophisticated financial arrangements, and expanded service offerings that provide additional value to customers. The success of your royal supply contract in Egypt has demonstrated the advantages of long-term customer relationships that provide predictable demand for your products. You're now exploring similar arrangements with other major customers that would provide steady revenue streams while reducing the risks associated with speculative trading ventures. These customer relationship strategies require new approaches to inventory management, production planning, and financial arrangements that reflect the different requirements of contract supply compared to traditional merchant operations. Your Egyptian voyage has also revealed opportunities for expanding beyond traditional trading activities into related services that complement your core commercial operations. The transportation and logistics services that support your own trading activities could potentially be offered to other merchants who need similar capabilities. The information and intelligence services that you've developed for your own use represent another potential business opportunity. Other Phoenician merchants would benefit from access to current information about market conditions, political developments, and commercial opportunities in different regions. Your financial success from the Egyptian voyage provides capital for experimental ventures that explore new products, new routes, and new business models that might prove profitable in changing market conditions. These experimental activities involve higher risks than traditional operations, but also offer potential for extraordinary returns if successful. The innovation process requires balancing respect for proven methods with openness to new approaches that might provide competitive advantages. The challenge is identifying innovations that represent genuine improvements rather than simply changes that create unnecessary complications or risks. As you reflect on your successful Egyptian trading voyage and plan for future commercial activities, you're developing a strategic vision that extends beyond individual transactions to encompass the long-term positioning of your family within the evolving Mediterranean commercial system. The fundamental challenge facing Phoenician merchants is maintaining competitive advantages in an increasingly complex international environment where traditional methods may no longer provide sufficient differentiation from emerging competitors, particularly the Greeks who are developing their own sophisticated commercial capabilities. Your strategic approach emphasizes leveraging the unique advantages that Phoenician commercial culture provides while adapting to changing conditions through selective innovation and strategic partnerships. The goal is to maintain leadership in high-value maritime commerce while developing new capabilities that provide protection against competitive threats. The first element of your strategic vision involves geographic diversification that reduces dependence on any single region or set of trading relationships. While Egypt remains an important market, over-reliance on Egyptian commerce creates vulnerabilities to political instabilities and competitive pressures in that region. Your future trading plans include exploration of opportunities in Western Mediterranean regions, where Phoenician merchants have historical advantages and where Greek competition is still limited. The Iberian Peninsula, with its rich mineral resources, represents particularly attractive opportunities for expanded commercial activities. The second strategic element involves product diversification that moves beyond traditional Phoenician specialties toward a broader range of goods and services that provide multiple revenue streams and reduce risks associated with market changes in specific product categories. Your success with African goods during the Egyptian voyage demonstrates the potential for expanding into new product categories that complement traditional Phoenician offerings while providing access to different customer segments and market opportunities. The third element involves organizational innovations that improve the efficiency and effectiveness of your commercial operations while providing capabilities for managing more complex and diverse business activities. The collaborative security arrangements you're developing with other merchants represent one example of organizational innovation that provides benefits that individual merchants couldn't achieve independently. Similar collaborative approaches might be applicable to other aspects of commercial operations. Your strategic vision also includes investment in the next generation of leadership that will be responsible for implementing these strategic directions and adapting them to future conditions that can't be fully predicted from current perspectives. The training and development programs for Melkart and other young family members must prepare them not just for continuing traditional Phoenician trading practices, but also for leadership roles in a more complex and competitive commercial environment. Your strategic planning process involves scenario development that considers multiple possible future conditions and prepares adaptive responses for different potential developments. This approach provides flexibility for responding to changing conditions while maintaining focus on long-term strategic objectives. As the sun sets over the harbor at Tyre, painting the Mediterranean in shades of gold and purple that remind you of the precious dyes that have made your people famous throughout the ancient world, you reflect on what it truly means to be a Phoenician sea trader in this dangerous but profitable era of expanding international commerce. Your successful voyage to Egypt represents more than just a profitable business venture. It's part of a larger story of human courage, ingenuity, and determination that connects distant civilizations through the risky but essential work of maritime trade. Every cargo you carry, every route you navigate, and every relationship you build contributes to the growing network of connections that will eventually unite the Mediterranean world in ways that no single empire could achieve through conquest alone. The physical artifacts of your voyage, the gold and silver coins in your strongbox, the exotic goods in your warehouse, the modified ship in your harbor, represent tangible evidence of success. But the real legacy lies in the less visible contributions that merchant activities make to human civilization. The information you've gathered and shared about different cultures, markets, and regions contributes to the growing body of knowledge that enables other merchants, diplomats, and explorers to build on your achievements. Every successful voyage adds to the collective understanding that makes future expeditions safer and more profitable. The relationships you've established between Phoenician and Egyptian communities create ongoing connections that facilitate not just commerce, but also cultural exchange, technological transfer, and diplomatic communication. These Relationships often outlast the individual merchants who create them, becoming institutional connections that benefit multiple generations. The innovations you've developed in response to changing conditions, new security arrangements, improved business methods, expanded service offerings, become part of the evolving practices that define Phoenician commercial culture. Your adaptations influence other merchants and contribute to the continuous improvement of international trading capabilities. Most importantly, your success demonstrates the continued viability of the merchant way of life that has sustained your family for generations and will hopefully continue to support future generations in the changing world they will inherit. The risks you've faced and overcome, storms at sea, pirate attacks, political uncertainties, competitive pressures, are the same challenges that every generation of Phoenician merchants must confront, though in forms that change with technological development and political evolution. Your son Melkart, as he prepares to assume greater responsibilities in family business operations, will face different specific challenges than those you've encountered, but the fundamental requirements for success remain constant. Courage to face uncertain dangers, intelligence to navigate complex situations, integrity to maintain the relationships that support long-term prosperity, and adaptability to respond effectively to changing conditions. The Mediterranean world of 950 BC is a place where individual initiative and personal courage can still make a significant difference in the course of human events. The trading networks that merchants like you create and maintain represent one of the few international institutions that transcend political boundaries and cultural differences to create mutual benefits for people throughout the known world. Your story as a Phoenician sea trader is part of the larger human story of exploration, innovation, and connection that will eventually lead to the development of truly global civilizations. The routes you've pioneered, the methods you've developed, and the relationships you've established all contribute to the foundation upon which future generations will build more sophisticated and extensive international systems. As you drift off to sleep in your own bed, in your own house, in your own city, after months of dangerous travel through foreign lands, you carry with you the satisfaction of someone who has not only survived and prospered in a challenging profession, but has also contributed to the great human enterprise of building connections between distant peoples and different cultures. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, new opportunities, and new adventures as the cycle of preparation, voyage, and return begins again. But tonight, you rest as someone who has successfully answered the call of the sea, the lure of profit, and the satisfaction of connecting the scattered civilizations of the ancient Mediterranean world. The waves that once threatened to claim your life now sing a gentle lullaby outside your window, promising future voyages and continued adventures in the endless quest to build prosperity through courage, intelligence, and the willingness to risk everything on the uncertain promise of distant markets and foreign shores. This is what it meant to be a Phoenician sea trader, not just a merchant seeking profit, but an agent of civilization itself, weaving the threads that would eventually bind the ancient world together through the patient, dangerous, and ultimately transformative work of international maritime commerce. Your legacy lives not just in the wealth you've accumulated or the business relationships you've established, but in the contribution you've made to the great human story of discovery, connection, and the gradual creation of a world where distant strangers can become trading partners, cultural interpreters, and ultimately, friends united by the common bonds of commerce and mutual respect. The Mediterranean sleeps peacefully tonight, but tomorrow its waters will again carry brave merchants toward distant shores, continuing the ancient tradition that you've helped to maintain and strengthen through your own successful voyage into the dangerous but profitable world of Phoenician sea trading.